88.1 WHBR and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning. So tune in to a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHBR, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 13-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Of course, the area code is 313. That's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live to the scriptural discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet all of you once again with the greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May Allah's salam alaikum. May Allah's peace be unto you all. I have quite a few things that I want to share with you today, but as usual, we're going to start off with the invitation that I have left open for people who have disagreement. If you have disagreement with something that I'm teaching or espousing, you may feel free at this time to unmute your phone and bring it to my attention so that we can discuss it. You know, it would only be considered a farce, a pretentious act, and hollow words for me to stand before you and say that I wish you the peace of Allah, the God's peace. And then when, or forbid you to come in and express your disagreement, that will not allow you to be at peace with me. Do you understand? You know, when peace, many people they don't think, but peace is a state of mind, and the mind cannot be at peace when it feels that whether it's your mind or my mind, when that mind has trouble accepting something that you claim to be true, that that mind does not see as true. Do you understand? That brings up a point of argument, and that is spiritual warfare. Do you understand? And so I would show you that I mean it when I say I wish you peace by being ready and willing to hold reasonable conversation with you concerning the points wherein we have differences of opinion. Do you understand? Okay. I said reasonable conversation. You know, when all you have is beliefs, then you are not able to uh, have reasonable conversation. It takes more than just a mind full of beliefs to have a reasonable conversation. A reasonable conversation is a conversation that both parties have facts that they base their beliefs on, uh, what they have given themselves over to. They have facts, something other than just because someone they trusted told them something and never gave them any facts to prove what they told them. Do you do you understand? You know, you haven't taught a person if you didn't give them facts and a way of testing and checking what you said, uh, to, so that they will know that, you see. So teaching requires more than telling people things. Teaching requires giving facts and reasons, not just giving a person a belief, but giving them the reason why it is safe to believe that. Do you understand? That way, when they're questioned about their beliefs, because once you accept or adopt the belief of someone else, then that belief becomes yours, just like when you adopt a child or you adopt a pet. You know, once you adopt that thing, then it's yours. Do you understand? Okay. So we all, what should keep us all humble is that every ideology, every principle that we stand for or say we stand for, we should remember that we didn't bring it here. We adopted it after we got here. And once we recognize that we adopted these things, well, then, you know, it takes the arrogance out of the way we conduct ourselves based on that which we adopted. We recognize that when you really have the truth, you don't defend the truth. The truth defends itself and you. Do you understand? So if the truth that I have cannot defend itself, then it is, as far as I'm concerned, it is not the truth to me. It is just something I believe. You understand? It is not the truth until it is confirmed, until it is confirmable to me. Do you understand? That now understand, I'm not telling you that the truth is not the truth just because you don't know it's the truth. But you cannot say that it is truth to you until you know it. All right? Okay. So all praise is due to Allah. So we want to give who have disagreements with us. That's how you get. That's how we get wiser. You don't get wiser by talking to people who just agree with everything you say. You get wiser by talking to people who have a point of view different than your own. It's just like if you've heard the.
Excuse me, Simon.
Yes.
I got a picture see it here at the house here. I have to transport my mom to the hospital. To be there. Some plastic.
Yes, sir. You if you can while you're transferring her, take a put your cell phone while you're transferring your mother. Just put your cell phone on and listen while you're going.
Oh.
Who is that hitting buttons? Who else has their phone off mute? Just hit. Okay. Well, just you can do that. Take your mother, and at the same time, still listen to what's being said. And I hope that your mother fares well, and it's nothing serious. Be safe and sorry. So I want to. But you are excused, brother. Yes, sir. I want all of you to know that we are. I don't like fanaticism. Fanaticism is dangerous. Because it is close to bigotry. We have seen people who are fanatics in not just religion, but anytime you become overly zealous in any cause, it becomes not only detrimental to you, but detrimental to those that you deal with. Do you understand? Because it begins to form your mind in a way that fire does clay. And once you get to the point where, in an infinite universe, we should always be pliable and not hardened in any truth that we learn, because there are truths. I'll show you an example. Man cannot fly. That is a truth that another truth made not exactly true. Do you understand? It's just like if we say in math, 10 minus 7 is 4, is equal to 4. Well, since the universe is everything in the universe is created with truth, then you can always take the truth whenever you have what we call a falsehood. See, you create a falsehood when you say 10 minus 7 is 4. You are creating darkness. But light says minus 1. Then you've made that equation true. Do you understand? 10 minus 7 is equal to 4 minus 1. Right? There. You see, so you can always remove falsehood with truth. So man cannot fly except by means of a flying machine or by the help of airplanes or whatnot. So at one time, the statement man could not fly was just an incomplete fraction. And that's all we have in the realm of knowledge. All we have are fractions. You cannot have the whole of what has no end. You can only have a fraction of it. A fraction is a part. It's just like you and I. I remember my teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in his sayings to me, he said, fractions are taught to you first because you were a fraction. You were a part before you were a whole. He said you were a part, then a whole. And so he told me why fractions are taught to me first, because I was a fraction. And even when I became a whole, I was yet a fraction, and I'm still a fraction of humanity. Do you understand? And each of us, when you look at us, you say, well, all of the people on earth is the whole of humanity. No, all of the people of the earth is not the whole of humanity, because we have needs for others and endless. And it really has no end. Do you understand? And so we are fractions of humanity. So, that's why even those who hate me, I don't feel that way about them. I'm steady trying to figure out a way to get past that and make us greater. If you have one half is greater than 1/10. So when we the more in unity we as a species become, the greater will be our achievements. The greater will be our success. The greater will be our persons. Do you understand? Yeah. See, everything, every fraction, you notice, if you say 1/10, if you say 1/50th, if you say 1,000th, what you are saying is everything is trying to get to oneness. If you have 1,000th, you have 1,000th of one. Do you understand? So you're looking for the other 999 of them. So all praises due to Allah. We want our minds. You notice we are on the way to becoming one and don't even realize it, because 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 6 is 12, 9 times 9 is 81. 9 plus 9 is 18. And you didn't disagree with me on nothing I said. We're already becoming one. We just don't realize it. You see? So I want to, I'm unlike many people, I want to hear people who disagree with me. You see? Now, when I say, you don't, it's like Nicodemus said to those, even though he was one of them, and they was talking about Jesus and condemning Jesus. He said, does our law judge any man before it hear him? You can't call a man if you wasn't willing to hear him. Do you understand? And as you hear him, if he says things that he deems to be facts, then you question him. Okay, where's your authority for this? Where's your proof of this? That's your authority, your proof, same thing. Do you understand? If I'm supposed to be a man of God, and you ask me a question, and you are trying to discern whether or not I am a man of God, then you should have the word of God that you are questioning me from. Do you understand? And when I answer you, if I'm truly from God, then I should be answering you with the words of God. Do you understand? So, it's a way to determine if you're dealing with an imposter or dealing with someone who is truthful and not misrepresenting themselves. You understand? So, as I was, you notice when you say that, we've heard many people come out and say that with Dr. Cosby that he somehow assaulted them. But when I asked Ms. Ruley, for instance, did he rape you? She said no. Right? And then she said she believed that may have happened to that woman, that other person that was there. Right? But she said she believed. Huh? Which means what? That she don't know. So I want to read a letter that Ms. Ruley wrote to me. It's not so much as a formal letter as it was. She emailed it to me. It was a statement that she wrote back online. She said, I wanted, and I'm reading her letter here. I wanted to say a word after talking with you on the air tonight. So she wrote that the same night, which was Friday, right? Okay. I don't think I have ever seen a more dignified woman than the mother of Trayvon Martin. The way she bears her pain with such strength and calm completely humbles those who see her. White people have never felt the lashes of discrimination, though many of us want to understand, let me read that again. White people have never felt the lashes of discrimination, though many of us want to understand. But as a woman, I do understand what it is like to be diminished by old white men. Perhaps that is why I so admire Trayvon Martin's mother. Her faith shows in her dignity, and she will not be diminished by anyone. My heart breaks for Barack Obama. As he says, he has been driven to his knees, but he stands tall for the majority of America, and he will be remembered as one of our greatest presidents precisely because of his dignity and calm in the face of pain, like Trayvon's mother, as well as all that he has given us in terms of health care, immigration reform, and a lot of other things that matter to those of us trying to just make an honest living. I no longer in any form. Unfortunately for the Irish, once you reach your 40s, you lose all tolerance for it and either become a drunk or start abusing cranberry juice. Herbal tea works just fine for me. Chappaqua and pronounced Chappaqua, Chappaqua, New York, is where Bill and Hillary Clinton live. I met him one day when he and his Secret Service detail came into his favorite deli. Believe it or not, during the Obama-Clinton primary fight, there were more Obama signs than Hillary signs around town. He has more charisma. He, Bill Clinton, has more charisma than any man I have ever met. But then I haven't met Barack Obama. And I was interviewed at NBC earlier this week and kept looking around for Reverend Al because I wanted to know about his diet plan. And she signed it, a sister in faith, Christina Ruley. Now, you know, as I told many of you, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me, he said that there are white Muslims in America. He said, and lots of them. I want to say that any Caucasian person that has ever spoke up on behalf of Black people because of the mistreatment of my people by white people, they have had to fear retaliation from their own people. That this goes all the way back to the first slaves being brought here, even with those white people who participated in the Underground Railroad. I'll give you a case in point. I don't know any more about the history there than they put in the history books. But there was a white man by the name of John Brown. And according to the history that I was taught, and he was going around trying to free slaves and telling white people that they have to stop that. And they caught him and hung him, you know. And so I want you to understand something. I think I need to, you know, you see a lot of things and you only see it from the outside looking at us. Just like you heard me say, I came to Mississippi with the purpose of, because I learned from listening to white people talk and listening to, you know, movies, the scripts that they write. And the one thing that I've heard continually is that whatever you are afraid of, you will never overcome that fear until you face that which you are afraid of. As I told you, when I first came to Mississippi, I was scared of white people. I'm not going to tell no lie. I mean, the white man done did so many things to us. He had fear in all of us for him. And even when I was out west, when the white police and thing would stop me as I'd be selling Muhammad Speaks, I'm not going to say I wasn't afraid. I just did not let my fear master me. You understand? You know, I mean, when you are in a dangerous situation, it's good to have fear because it quicker. Your adrenal gland begins to working and giving you more strength, and you can react quicker. You understand? Fear is necessary. You know, you got to know when to be afraid, and you know it's good to know when to be afraid. You like a baby. Look at a baby. A baby will crawl up to a lion and try to pet him. Got sense enough to be afraid, right? You know, but as we acquire knowledge, then as the book says, he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. what is that to me? Because it's a lot of things that you're having knowledge of, and and that makes you sorry. Do you understand? Sorry to be in this situation, sorry to be here, or sorrow, you know, and that's just the way it is. Any of you that disagree with me, you're welcome to chime in. But I'm getting at something here. You know, it's like in the Holy Quran when Moses, uh, um, where's that at where Moses travels in search of knowledge? It's funny how I'll ask a question, and those who are of different uh, Islamic beliefs than me, even though they're listening, you never hear them say, well, you can find that over here or that over there. They're too busy hating me for not agreeing with the way that they practice what they call Islam. Uh, it's strange. Chapter 18. Okay, in the 18th, the Holy Quran. Um, and the you say 18 and 60. Let's go to it. The 60th verse. It says, and when Moses said to his servant, I will not cease until I reach the junction of the two rivers. Otherwise, I will go on for years. So when they reached the junction of the two rivers, they forgot their fish, and it took its way into the river, being free. But when they had gone further, he said to his servants, bring to us our morning meal. Certainly, we have found fatigue in this our journey. And his servant said, sawest thou when we took refuge on the rock? I forgot the fish, and none but the devil made me forget to speak of it. And it took its way into the river. What a wonder. He said, this is what we sought for. So they returned, retracing their footsteps. Then they found one of our servants. When they went back looking for one thing, they found something else. They found the servant of Allah. They found one of our servants, whom we had granted mercy from us, and whom we had taught knowledge from ourselves. Moses said to him, may I follow thee, that thou mayest teach me of the good thou hast been taught? And he said, thou canst not have patience with me. And how canst thou have patience in that whereof thou hast not a comprehensive knowledge? That's the reason why people from overseas and people that are not um, that have not experienced the 400 years of mistreatment that me and my people have experienced. That's why they can't have patience with us uh, when they see us reacting based on how we've been mistreated. Do you understand? And even when they see certain actions of us, they misread it. Do you understand? And so it says, he said, if Moses, now listen to that 68th verse again. It says, and how canst thou have patience in that whereof thou hast not a comprehensive knowledge? You know, it's impossible to be patient with something that you cannot understand. Do you understand? You see a person do something that you don't understand, you're not going to wait to say something. You're going to say it. Why you do that? You see what I'm saying? You know, it demanded that you speak because you didn't understand. And Moses said, if Allah please, thou wilt find me patient, nor disobey thee in anything, in aught. He said, if thou wouldst follow me, question me not about aught until I myself speak to thee about it. Huh? And so they set out until when they embarked in a boat, and he made a hole in it. And Moses said, hast thou made a hole in it to drown its occupants? Thou hast surely done a grievous thing. He said to Moses, did I not say that thou couldst not have patience with me? So Moses told him, he said, blame me not for what I forgot. And he be not hard on me for what I did. So they went on until when they met a boy, he killed the boy. He slew the boy. Moses said, hast thou slain an innocent person, not guilty of slaying another? Thou hast indeed done. He said, did I not see with me? And he said, if I ask thee about anything else, Moses was talking again. He said, if I ask thee about anything after this, keep not company with me. Thou wilt then indeed have found an excuse in my case. You notice we come to that 3 strikes and you're out, huh? But anyway, so they went on until when they came to the people of a town, they asked its people for food, but they refused to entertain them as guests. Then they found in it a wall which was on the point of falling. So he put it into a right state. And Moses said, wished thou couldst have taken a recompense for it. And, you know, Moses thought he ought to get paid if he's going to be able to put that wall back there. You understand? And he said, this is the pardon between me and thee. Now I will inform thee of the significance of that with which thou couldst not have patience. As for the boat, it belonged to a poor people working on the river, and I intended to damage it, for there was behind them a king who seized every boat by force. And as for the boy, his parents were believers, and we feared lest he should involve them in wrongdoing and disbelief. So we intended that their Lord might give them in his place one better, in purity and nearer to mercy. And as for the wall, it belonged to an orphan boys, to 2 orphan boys in the city. There was beneath it a treasure belonging to them, and their father had been a righteous man. So my Lord intended that they should attain their maturity and take out their treasure, a mercy from thy Lord. and I did not do it of my own accord. This is the significance of that with which thou couldst not have patience. So Moses was going with the man for the first time. He never thought how many times that man went that way, and what did that man know about that he was going with, for he knew where he was going and everything. But Moses didn't think like that. He was thinking like a child, that making judgments. That's the one thing about uh, the term man is created in haste. Well, that is the nature of the mind, the brain, and the mind that a child has. A child does not make wise decisions um, generally, because as uh, in order to make a decision, one must deliberate. And since a child does not have a lot of knowledge, it don't take him long to deliberate. Do you understand? And so he always does something that didn't make no sense, because he didn't have anything, a whole lot of knowledge in his head to draw from and reason with. So he makes his mind up quick, because he don't have much to make up. You understand? So he comes to hasty decisions. And so that means one, anything that you notice, Moses was he was on the level of a child as he was walking with the matter of fact, the name Moses means a child. But as he was walking with the man, he didn't have any knowledge, so he came to quick decisions, quick judgments, snap judgments about what the man was doing. Right? There you go. So now I'm going to go back to Miss Ruley's letter about Trayvon Martin's mother. And I want you to be patient, because I first want to read something to you. It comes from How to Make a Slave, the William Lynch speech of 1712. On how to make a slave. It says, and I think for clarity's sake, I'm going to read the first 2 pages. It says, gentlemen, I greet you here on the banks of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. It's important that you remember he was from the West Indies. So, in the West Indies, slavery existed too, right? Now you understand why even Marcus Garvey, he referred to Black people as Negroes. You understand? Because he was from the West Indies, right? And he formed the United Negro Improvement Association. And that's why Master Farad Muhammad, when he told the messenger about Marcus Garvey, he said, Marcus Garvey loved you all. And he said, but he lacked the knowledge of how to get you up. He said, Noble Drew Ali also loved you. He said, but he too lacked the knowledge of how to get you up. He said, so they have all gone and left the job on you and me. And he said, and when I finish teaching you, you will be able to get them all. And he was was the messenger of Allah. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the messenger of Allah. And when he said that, I understood that that message that he was, those words that he was saying was directed to me. When he finished teaching me, and he did finish, and his job was to raise me. And after raising me to the point where I could reason, he told me now, he said, now you want to talk to Allah. He said, don't look for Master Farad Muhammad. You go look in the scripture and you'll discover that it's all written to you. And that's what I did. And so I'm able to get everybody. You notice, I talk to white people. I talk to black people. I can talk to anybody that will keep a civil tongue in their head. And, you know, you pretty soon you'll be just listening because you don't have sufficient knowledge in your head to really hold an argument with me on what I'm saying. Now, you can argue with me about things, but you can't argue with me on these scriptures here. So now he says, ancient Rome, pardon me, he said, your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its old highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasion. You notice when we were taught the history of the Roman Empire, they didn't tell us about that, about how the Romans used to put bodies on display on the cross, on crosses and wood, and to warn people and to tyrannize those that they were ruling over, to let them know that this is what will happen to you if you cross us, right? Okay. He said, I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple of miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings, slaves are running away, your crops are sometimes left in the fields for too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires, your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I'm not here to enumerate your problems. I'm here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences. Among the slaves. And I take these differences and make them bigger. I make them more than they really are. I use fear, terrorism. I use terrorism, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On the top of my list is age, but it is only there because it starts with the letter A. The second is color or shade. Then you have intelligence, then size, sex, gender, in other words, size of the plantations, status on the plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or on a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair or coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect or admiration. And that is true even to today. That's why, regardless to all of the history that people know of Dr. Cosby, it didn't take but a little campaign, just like one lady told that they tried to pay her to get involved in that. And now you got the media, which I'll get into that in a minute. But even people like Miss Ruley, who said that he didn't rape her. He said, but she think maybe he done something to her. Why? Because all these other women brought something back to her. Now everybody who ever dated him now wondering, huh? Yeah, that's what that was designed to do. But anyway, let's go on. It says the black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling. What that means? It means that if you do this right, you won't have to keep doing it. It will just be in there. You understand? It will be self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, we are haters of self. Yeah, we hate ourselves. You hear black people all the time say, I don't want to be nowhere where there ain't nothing but black people. We used to say, I don't want to be nowhere where there ain't nothing but niggas. Right? Who was that talking? But anyway, let's go on. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male. When you say pitch, you play baseball? You know what a pitch is? You throw something for the one you throwing it to. He's not throwing it to get the one to hit it. He's throwing it to get that back catcher to catch it. Is that right? He's trying to get it past it. So, you know, if you're trying to get someone to do something that's not in their best interest, then you do them like a pitcher does with a baseball. You don't want their conscious mind to pick up on what you're doing, lest it knock it away. Do you understand? So you want to throw a curve. And they say, I threw him a curve. And he missed what I was. It's in his subconscious, and his subconscious done caught it and is acting on it. You understand? Okay. Well, that's what this is. That's what's done to us. That's what we suffer from even right now. That's why so many of you mad at me for being able to stand up and articulate this. And because you've been taught to resent any black man that try to inform you. If a white man informs you, it's good. If a black man informs you, that nigga trying to tell me what to do. That's you don't want no black man telling you what to do. Okay, let's go on. So it says, now look, I'm not speaking in a vacuum here. If you have a disagreement with me, you can discuss what I'm saying with me. I'm not. I don't fly off the handle like I used to. I'm not a real youngster no more. And as my teacher used to say, he says, so I'm not flying off at the handle here, talking without being ready to prove what I say. But this is self-proven here because it's still happening. And so it says, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You can't just put one of them against the other. You got to put both of them against each other. It don't work if you just put one against the other. The other one may start showing love, and then that won't work. And pretty soon they'll be friends. You understand? So it says, now you understand why Jesus said when he was talking, he said, a man's foes shall be they of his own household. Huh? And since your foes are your enemies, so he said, so I say unto you, love your enemies. That's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me. When I be going around to my people door to door selling Muhammad speaks, and knock on the door, and one of them come in and say, no, I don't want that mess. And I say, yes, ma'am. Okay. And I'd leave. And then next week when the paper came out again, I knock on the door again. See, it was most of them sisters was at home. And didn't I tell you that I didn't want that mess? I said, oh, that was you? Oh, okay. And I left. And about the fourth time I come out here, she said, you just ain't gonna quit, huh? I said, well, sister, you my sister. And I can't give up on you like that. She said, let me see that old paper. I give it to her. And pretty soon she became a paper customer, and we had good conversations. Brothers too. I had brothers threaten me, jump on me, but he say, hey man, where you coming up in my yard? I said, brother, I just want to offer you the Muhammad speak. And no, I wasn't scared. Those my people. And he said, well, I don't want it. And he leave. Same thing with him after a while. So I understood why Jesus said, love your enemies. When he said, your enemies will be those of your own household. That applies to black people in America, especially. We have been made total enemies to each other. so that we could not unite and throw off the yoke of slavery. So let's listen. Now, if I was saying this in a vacuum, then you would have justification to disbelieve it. But if I'm saying it in front of the ones who did it to us, and they ain't saying nothing, then you know that what I'm saying is true. So, white people know that this is true. They did this to us. So, listen. It says, you must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have all your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. Don't let them get close to them either. Don't let them find out that they really are human beings and they doing wrong for mistreating them. No. You got to have them distrust all blacks. Well, how you get them to do that? Well, you teach them that the black man gonna one day kill them. Tell them, you gotta lie. At one time, the Ku Klux Klan was a very, very large, much larger than it is today. What was their major thing? We are protecting who? They were protecting the white who? From us. They ain't even thought about the fact that they the one got all the guns and the bullets and everything. We got no means of doing no harm to them. But when your emotions and the people that you trust tell you something, your parents and all of that, they tell you things. It's hard to fathom that they would just outright lie to you. So, they didn't even question what their parents was telling them. But anyway, let's go on. It says, you must use the female versus the male and the male versus the female. You must also have all your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. You see, they couldn't have held us in slavery if they didn't have some white people in slavery too, thinking that they was free. But they was, watching, they were servants watching servants. Do you understand? Slaves watching slaves. But anyway, it says, but it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. You remember what that 47% comment that Mitt Romney made? When he said there are always going to be 47% of the people thinking that the government owes them something. Huh? Remember, that's what William Lynch told his that he was his fellow masters. He said, you don't want to teach the slave too much. You teach him your language, pretty soon he'll be sitting in your house talking to you as an equal. Huh? Yeah. They don't want that. Even you heard what Grover Norquist said about what kind of president he wants. We don't want no. We don't need nobody to direct us or guide us. We need somebody with good dexterity. Do you understand? Yeah. Well, let's go on. It says, gentlemen, he said your slaves must distrust all, your overseers must distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Huh? All right. You think this is some joke? This is no joke. Every book that I read as a little boy, C. Dick, C. Jane, C. Spot Ron. Every nursery rhyme that I heard, all of it was written from the mind's eye of white people. I learned to believe in, to love, and to trust only white people. We all did. Okay. Now he's listening. You hear him saying that ain't so. Okay. Gentlemen, these kits are keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful of one another. Huh? Thank you, gentlemen. The systematic physical breaking and psychological reversing process. In other words, break the will to resist. Now, the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the nigger, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. Keep your eye on the female, he said. That's the one who carries and delivers and raises the offspring. A brief discourse in offspring development on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations. That's why you notice they didn't tell you nothing about 1555 and what happened between 1555 and 1612. The first slaves was brought to America in 1555. The first black people, and they had to break us, as they say. You make him fit for you to what? For you to ride him. Okay, let's go on. Little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations. Therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you, for her normal female protective tendencies will have in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse and an already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with two captured nigger males in their natural state. A pregnant nigger woman with her infant offspring. Take the stud horse, break him for limited containment. Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody else can ride her in comfort. Now, breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggers, the female, do this all in front of the remaining males, and the female and the infant nigger, tar and feather him, tie each leg to a different horse faced in opposite directions, set him on fire, and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining nigger. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger male to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. What do you mean, put the fear of God in him? Put the fear in him that he should have for God. Put that fear in him of us. Now, let's go back to what this letter that Miss Ruley wrote me. See, Miss Ruley don't understand what she's looking at. You say, I want to say a word after talking with you on the air tonight. I don't think I have ever seen a more dignified woman than the mother of Trayvon Martin. The way she bears her pain with such strength and calm completely humbles those who see her. Well, you mistaken what you're looking at. That's not dignity you're looking at, that's fear. And whenever you all murder our people, you've been doing that for the past 400 and something years, you've been murdering our people. Your people have. And we have an old saying in the Black community that we just grit our teeth and bear it. Why? Because we of you that whenever you mistreated us, murdered us, or whatever, just like remember the Rodney King thing? That was an example. When have you ever condemned any white person that murdered a black man? Just like the calm and thing that you say you saw in Trayvon's mother, you murdered her son. And she know that if her or her husband get too loud about it, they'll be next. You talk about terrorism, you got a whole nation of black people in this country that have lived under terrorism that you practiced on us for 400 years. And you still yet practice it. You always want to know after you do something like you did, just like when they interviewed the young man, that put him Ferguson police officer gun to his head while he had the young ladies in the car with him, and told him that you open your mouth again, you're gonna be another dead nigga. And so the interviewer, it was on what is that, MSNBC. What's his name? The Caucasian man that huh? No, was the Alex something? But anyway, and he asked him, he said, were you afraid? The young man said, no, I was afraid for her. It's just like with me. And he said basically the same thing that I said. No, I'm not afraid of them and their guns and all of this stuff that they talking about they gonna do. Only thing he can do is kill me. And if I can't be a man, I'm dead anyway. You think because President Obama don't speak up about your racism that that's what that is that you practicing on him? Look, listen to. I mean, you say white people have never felt the lashes of discrimination. Yeah, you can dish it out, but you can't take it. You dish out things to others that you would not want done to your people. It's just like what they doing to Dr. Cosby, got him and stripping him in front of the black community. We supposed to trust everything you say? When have you ever spoke up for us in defense of us for anything? When? And if you had to defend us, who was it that you had to defend us from? From your own people. We haven't did anything to you, but served you for 460 years almost. As you said, white people have never felt the lashes of discrimination, though many of us want to understand. I believe that Miss Ruley does want to understand. But every time, what happened when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and myself now stand up and begin to give you understanding of how we feel? You want to kill us. You admit that you don't understand because you didn't suffer what we suffered. And when we go to talk about what we suffered, we get accused of teaching hatred. We get accused of being something other than uh, a, a people who have been done wrong and have and every cry that we made about the wrong that we was done fell upon deaf ears. But as a woman, she goes on to say, I do understand what it is like to be diminished by old white men. Perhaps that is why I so admire Trayvon Martin's mother. Her faith shows in her dignity. She will not be diminished by anyone. Every mother, every black mother in America has lost, just about has lost sons and daughters and have had to bury it uh, in silence. My mother buried three of her, Jerome, Melvin, and let's see, who else? Addison passed after. She, and yes, three of her children, Geraldine, Jerome. Geraldine died of pneumonia because my mother and them was sharecropping here in Mississippi. Of us had, it was at that time it was 9 of us, and 8 of us, 9 of us, and I was the baby at that time. And my mother and them told me that everybody had pneumonia in the house. And Geraldine, uh, she died. And then they moved to California after Geraldine's death. And my younger brother was born out in California. So it was 9 of us again. But they had 10 children, and one died when she was little. So I don't guess I was born at that time. It's been so long, it's kind of slipped my mind. But I know my mother sit there and buried her oldest son, Jerome. She buried her next oldest son, Melvin. And, they, saw some of her sons. One of my brothers, he took some LSD, or somebody slipped him some. I don't know which one it was, but he never, I think he took some. And his mind just never was right after that. And, I saw this as I was growing up. He was one that I was closest to. And I was really hurt by that. And so all Black people in this country got a story of affliction to tell. But when we stand up and you say you would like to understand, well, then why is it when we stand up to talk about what you've done to us, what was done by your people to us, we get accused of teaching hatred? So she says, my heart breaks for Barack Obama, as he says he has been driven to his knees. Yes, that's how Christians pray. I know what that means. But he prays. And I'm glad he does pray. I'm glad he did come out and tell our people, look, you don't want to go out there and be violent and that kind of thing. That's what he should have said to him. We ain't got no defense against you. We ain't got no way to fight you. And you boast yourself on how tough you are over a people that you know ain't got no defense against you. What you can't figure out is why we still speak up against you, even though you know we ain't got no weapons or nothing to fight you with. It's because I might not be able to deal with you, but God can. And I trust him to deal with you. So he says he has been driven to his knees, and I'm assuming she mean in prayer. Yes. But he stands tall for the majority of Americans, and he will be remembered as one of our greatest presidents, precisely because of his dignity. I want to read something to you. This is, I have some little books, and it's Words of Inspiration from America's Presidents. I believe that communism is another sad, bizarre chapter in human history whose last pages even now are being written. I believe this because the source of our strength in the quest for human freedom is not material, but spiritual. It knows no limitation. It must terrify and ultimately triumph over those who would enslave their fellow man. You know who said that? Ronald Reagan. There is a price which is too great to pay for peace. And that price can be put in one word. One cannot pay the price of self-respect. See, I have to look at myself in the mirror. And I have to look at my children in the face, my sons and my daughters. And I couldn't look them in the face if I saw all of the injustices that white people have done to us and then pretend that it didn't happen. And pretend and go along and smile and grin and not tell you about yourself. And if in order to have peace with you, oh, by the way, that was Woodrow Wilson said that. Self-respect. You don't give up your self-respect for peace. Huh? Nobody that's worth being at peace with would even try to take your self-respect. There's all free governments are managed by the combined wisdom and folly of the people. That's James Garfield. Above all things, I hope the education of the common people will be attended to, convinced that on their good sense we may rely with the most security for the preservation of a due degree of liberty. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson said that, but George Washington reminded you that it is imperative that you make it a number one priority to educate your people. Huh? Especially since they are the ones who elect your government. You want them to be well informed. I shall have liberty to think for myself without molesting others or being molested myself. That is John Adams said that. You know, many people think that the freedom to think for yourself is just natural. No, most people in this country don't think for themselves. The television do their thinking for them. The media does their thinking for them. That's why people spend millions of dollars on ads and campaigns to make and shape the thoughts of people who they have reduced to the level of the thinking of a 5-year-old, thanks to a public school system that's more a babysitting institution than it is an institution of learning. So no, Miss Ruley, you misinterpreted what you saw with Miss Martin and even with our president. They're just doing what we've had to do for so many long suffer in silence. Well, I'm the end of that. I'm not going to suffer with you in silence. You're going to have to answer, all of you. You're going to have to answer for how you've been conducting yourselves. Not before I spoke to you, but after I spoke to you. Allah said that. He said it in the book of Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, starting at the 17th verse. He said, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto thou. You know, most people, they think that's talking about some religion. No, that's talking about the mind that was built up inside of you that Jacob fathered. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, remember? And the house of Israel is the mind that's in you. And just like the house of the Lord, every time you open up the scripture, you are visiting the house of the Lord. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the scriptures of the Lord. But the house, the scriptures, same thing. The books. What do you think you use to build a physical house? You use physical material. When you building up a mind, you use material that you find in books. Right? Yes. Mm-hmm. So we are. So I'm going to read to you a little bit more. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life. That's why some of you are my people, you don't understand. Yes, I condemn the actions that's done to us by white people. But I recognize that that's prophecy, which means that during the time of their rulership, that was his will. That was God's will. And it was done. You understand? Even the book says, it is done. I'm Alpha and Omega. Whenever they get ready to build a shopping mall, or they get ready to build a highway, you notice they send bulldozers and stuff in there, earth movers, and they start changing the landscape. They start pushing stuff down and moving stuff out the way, huh? You know, they tear up what's there. Right? Okay. So I understand that. That's why Allah told the devil when he made him, he he said, "You going." Devil told God, he said, "I'm going to make evils fast seeming to him on earth, and cause all of them to deviate." And Allah said, "That's a right way with me. You have 6 days to do all your work, but the Sabbath day shall be a holy day unto the Lord." At the Sabbath day, that's the Son of come. Stop your work in that day. So I'm giving you the warning. Is there a problem? So I'm giving you the warning from Allah. It's right here. He told me to hear the words at his mouth. Every messenger of God was the mouth of God. Before the book of Psalms got in the book, it was in the mouth of David. Before Proverbs and Ecclesiastes got in the book, they were in the mouth of Solomon. Before the Holy Quran got in the book, it was in the mouth of Muhammad. And likewise, the book of Jeremiah was in the mouth of Jeremiah before it was in the pages of these scriptures here. So Allah told me, and you reading it right there with me. To hear mean to understand. And do what? Give you warning from him. He says, when I say, listen to how it's written there. When I say unto the wicked, how come the wicked can't hear it? Because he didn't say it to the wicked directly. He said it to me to say to the wicked. Because you had these books and you didn't understand them. So, and he also told me whether you hear it or whether you don't. This is because he knows how you are. You got people that purposely crash our website. And it's not the YouTube people either. Same people who purposely crashed the site when the president was trying to roll out his health care for people to enroll. Same people. People with the same mentality. They get in the way of anything good coming to people. If they can, they would stop anything good from coming to you. Do you understand? Yeah. So he says, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way. Remember that way that Allah told him was the right way with him? Well, now I'm telling him that now that way you got to stop. Warn him from that wicked way now. And so it says, well, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his wickedness, in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at thine hand. It says, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. So I'm going to let you hear, and I'm going to let you see some things. I want to let you hear this again that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to say. You need to hear these things. I don't want nobody to be able to later on claim that they didn't know. If I show you, then I know you know.
Greetings to you. I'm Elijah Muhammad, the preacher of
Just a moment.
equality to you, my soul.
I want you to hear it because it's relevant right now.
Greetings to you. I'm Elijah Muhammad, the preacher of freedom, justice to you, my soul. Black people who have been lost in the wilderness of North America for the last 400 some years. You, my dear beloved brothers and sisters that is listening to my voice on this album, I want that you pay good attention to it. I will substitute this judgment. Judgment has been taught and we have been warned that it is a day coming that we all will be judged. And whosoever Allah has voice upon, that person have a great reward bestowed upon him. Because we live in a world guided by the open enemy, the devil himself. Therefore, being lost from our own people, wherein there was no one to teach us, no one to help us. All teachers was prevented from teaching us a very pitiable condition our fathers fell in when captured by our enemies, the open devil in our native land. Through this defeat, here we are today on trial before the God who will judge us all. Who will this God be? That son of man, both Bible and Holy Quran declares. He will be a man, a son from a man, son of man. Not a formless spirit that the scientists, scholars of religion have given this name. So that judge on that day, the day of judgment in which we now live, will be a man. For only a man can judge rightly between man and man, because their nature is alike. Anything other than a man cannot judge our affairs, nor guide us in the right way that we will be successful. It's got to be a man. That when is the day of resurrection. This is the day of resurrection. We are living in it. When is the doom coming? When will be it taken place? Don't hurry for that day, because because you are living in it now. The days of the judgment of God upon the wicked and the correction and separating the righteous from the wicked, according to many of the scholars on this subject, would be something like near 20 years. That time would be between 1380 and 1400 of the Arab terror and of their scientists, which know more about scripture than the Christian could ever dream of. We now are living near these days, the dreadful days of judgment. The judgment. The end of those years now approaches us. We cannot say to you that which we do not know. Less time will prove us liars.
Yeah, that's true. As you look into the scriptures of truth, you discover that slavery starts off in the very beginning of your Bible, the book of Genesis. And this makes you realize that the Bible couldn't even begin to be known and understood until after slavery. The day of judgment is prophesied of after slavery. The nation that we served, God said he would judge. It's written. And then he told you who he committed to judgment. He said he have given him authority to execute judgment also because he's the Son of Man. You hear many people talking about building a nation that heard the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'd like any of you who say you are building a nation to come in here and let me question you a little bit. And I will show you that I'm the only one building a nation. Because I'm the only one who know how. I'm not saying that out of arrogance. I just said, come in here and I will question you a little bit and you can question me too. You know, see. You know, just because you got people who talk about going to war and they got about as much business talking about going to war as a baby got business talking about getting married. I want to show you an example of what I'm talking about. I was looking at the movie 300. Y'all familiar with that? Okay. Pay close attention. Pay close attention to this scene here.
This morning's full of surprises behind us. We've been tricked. A few hundred of them. This is a surprise. Silence! We heard Sparta was on the warpath. We were eager to join forces. If it is blood you seek, you're welcome to join us. But you bring only this handful of soldiers against Xerxes? You see, I was wrong to expect Sparta's commitment to at least match our own. Doesn't it? You, there. What is your profession? I'm a potter. So. And you, Arcadian. What is your profession? Sculptor, sir. Sculptor. You? Blacksmith. Spartans! What is your profession? You see, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.
You know, whenever you get ready to do anything, you get to, you don't start talking about going to war. That's the point that the writer was making in there. Now, just because you got a lot of people talking about they ready to fight, that don't mean that they soldiers. You got a blacksmith, you got a potter, you got the carpenter and stuff. You know, they give everybody a basic training which qualifies you to call yourself a soldier. But make no mistake, in the Marine Corps, the 0311 is the infantryman. And his whole thing, his whole training is fight. And those who are given other training, you know, like I told you, I was an armorer. I could fix his weapons. I could support him. The infantryman, the 0311. They call him the grunt. But he's the man that when the real fighting was going on, that's the man that was out there doing it. You understand? Likewise, when you start talking about building nations, that's why you have to recognize that America didn't come into existence on no accident. They understood for a strong military. They understood the need that military should be under the control of not just somebody who had the will to fight, but somebody who had sense enough to let reason determine whether or not they need to fight. And so consequently, they put their military under the control of the wisdom of their civilian population. It's just like your body, your muscles, your muscles are mostly relaxed until your mind says, let's flex. Do you understand? And ain't you glad that the muscles, but you control them? Right. So that is, but you can't say you're building a nation and you don't have any people that know something about building. No more than you can fight a war with a bunch of people who only know something about building a house. Do you understand? The right man for the right job. I'm not here to shed people's blood. I'm not here to waste my time going after all of the evils and call myself condemning all of the evils that I see going on in the world. Because if you live your life fighting against drug addiction or alcoholism or all of these ills that you see going on in the world, you just wasting time. Because all the ills that's going on in the world have a cause. You don't go, no physician that is wise treats only symptoms. The true physician wants to know the cause. And once he finds the cause, then he now knows that's the root of the problem. And he goes after the cause. Likewise, what is the cause of all of the evil in this world? It's the evil mind that resides in the people. That's the one I'm at war with. The evil mind. And we will take the truth and hurl it against the false and knock the false. And once you get rid of the mind that produced the evil can no more exist any more than a tree can exist if you cut off its roots. Do you understand? It must die. So we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Go to Ephesians so that you will understand what's written here. And I'll tell you who the we is in a little while. But first, let's go to the book of Ephesians. And it's around the 5th or 6th chapter. I gotta find it first. I'm always getting lost back in these little books. Give me a minute. In the 6th chapter of Ephesians, let's start at the 10th verse. And I want you to go to the 20. No, to the 7th chapter of the Holy Quran. And go to the 26th verse. And let's go to the 6th chapter of Ephesians and start at the it says in Ephesians, the 10th verse says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. That's just another way of saying, and in the understanding of his word. Do you understand? It does no good. It does no good to hear the word and don't do it. Because it's in the doing of the word that you gain the wisdom of. Understand? So, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Now, any of you that ever looked at cartoons. I don't know if they still had that cartoon on. The Road Runner. Do they still play the Road Runner? Well, they had a character in the Road Runner called Wile E. Coyote. There's that word wild. And Wile E. Coyote, he was so obsessed with getting that bird that, I mean, he come up with stuff from the Acme Corporation that had to cost $1,000. That thing ought to be going to buy him something to eat. Anyway, he was always scheming. Had some scheme. That's why I said the wiles, the schemes of the devil. You see, the devil, he said he'd make evil fast seeming to you. Well, then in order to do that, he had to trick you. Huh? Okay. So, put on the whole armor of God. What is armor? What is a flak jacket and a helmet? They are a type of armor put on to clothe themselves, to protect themselves from shrapnel. Is that right? So armor is a type of clothing, huh? In the 26th verse of the 7th chapter of the Holy Quran, it says, "O children of Adam." Children of Adam, children of Israel, same thing. You notice the same way that when your body, when you get together with when your mother and your father got together and mixed their reproductive genes, they produced you, a child, and you became their child, and then you got brothers and sisters, and you are their children, right? From them producing you. Well, the mind that is currently ruling this world, even though most people think that there are many minds ruling the world, but it's not. It's one mind that has many aspects to it. Let's go like this. You notice you go to a university, and the university is one school. But within the university, there are schools. Do you understand? But it's just one university. You remember the devil took Jesus up into the mountain and he showed him what? All the kingdoms, plants, animals, everything of this world. And told him all this will be thine. I give it to whoever I want. And he said, all will be yours if you will humble yourself and let me put my words in you to let come out of your mouth to others. Worship me. Right? And Jesus told him, "Oh, you get behind me, Satan. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve." Huh? What is another word for serve? Helping. Allah didn't take no oath from them to help the devil. He took an oath from them to aid the man that he was going to make, that child that he was going to put here. He said, you shall believe in him and you shall aid him. Huh? So Jesus knew what he was saying. He said, no, it's written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou aid, serve. Huh? Okay, now, but it's called clothing. We have indeed, O children of Adam, we have indeed sent down, not up, sent down to you clothing to cover your shame. Huh? You know, we use that term. Most people don't understand, but we use that. You say, oh, you know, how come you're not doing such and so and such and so? Well, you didn't read the rest of chapter 16, did you? It covered what you're doing. We have indeed sent down to you clothing that covers your shameful deeds and actions. Quote, clothing there is words. Haven't you used the term, you look like you got something on your mind? What's on your mind, right? You put physical clothes on your physical body, on your physical form. What kind of clothing do you put on your brain? You put words on there, don't you? And it says, clothing to cover your shame and clothing for beauty. You'll notice they have a saying in this world, pretty is as pretty does. Huh? Solomon said it like this. He said, a beautiful woman without discretion is as a pearl in the snout of a swine. Yeah, that's the way of putting it. You know, beauty is not something that you see only in a shape or form. It is seen in the deeds and actions of people. That's how you see true beauty. And it says clothing for beauty and clothing that guards against evil. What do you expect to find? What do you get a security system on your house or your business for? It's to guard it against what? People breaking and entering, huh? It is a means of resistance. So, submit yourselves, therefore, unto the truth, to God, that you may be able to resist the devil. Huh? Okay. Then the book says, you know how people, they like to take one prophet and try to single him out as the one they follow instead of believing in all of the prophets. The Holy Scripture says in the 11th verse of the 6th chapter of Ephesians, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the deceptive practices, the wiles of the devil, the evils. Well, you remember when the devil was asked his name? What was his answer? Legion, huh? What is a sore that everywhere it go, if the pus from it or the liquid from it makes another sore? It's called a legion, isn't it? Yeah. Well, we are many, huh? Is that what the devil told Jesus? All right. I want you to understand. I want everybody to understand so that you will be able, if you don't like the horseman that's riding you, you can buck him off. You hear what I said? You know, you notice there are four major colors of human beings: black, brown, yellow, and white. And it's up to you what kind of mind you let ride you. I'm giving you the opportunity to really make the choice as to who you will serve. Do you understand? We are the only horses that can decide who we will let ride. You're a horse that's been given free will. Okay? All right. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Your skin color ain't got nothing to do with it. We ain't wrestling with your skin. No, it ain't flesh and blood that our fight is with, that our wrestling and struggling with. No, our struggle is not against flesh and blood. Who is the we? You know, this is what people don't understand. You'll notice. There have been prophets and messengers sent to every nationality of people. And all of the prophets' teachings confirm one another. That each of them told you right. Because all of them basically taught the same thing. Huh? All right. And since they were all to different nationalities, then color ain't got nothing to do with it. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. The messenger even, he told people that. He said, let me see here. I like to let you bear witness the real way. So let's see here.
Which we didn't give him, and he can't do it. All that you have, we give it to you. The white man has nothing that he created. He fashioned something after our creation. We created everything that he got to choose from to make what he wants to make. The iron steel was already there. And he made his rule or kingdom from that which he found in the earth. That which he found in the earth was God. That is why you find in the Bible here in Isaiah, he cracks down on him to prove to him that He is God and that He is.
Give me a minute. It'll come back.
Cuts down on him to prove to him that He is God and that He has nothing to fight God with. He tells them that I created what that you blow. I created the gold. I created the instrument that you made for work. Created the iron and steel. Show me, Mr. Devil Knight, what do you have to fight me with? I have power over my creation. Do you have power over your creation? No, because your creation is the mine. $9,000 years ago, remember this, that an enemy was produced to cause all of this trouble that has been coming to the black man for the last 6,000 years, whom we call white man instead of just saying devil. That's his real name, devil. You go by his color because that you didn't know who was under the color. You go by his color because that you didn't know who was under the color.
See? As the book said, we're not talking about his color. You go by his color because you didn't know who was up under there. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. No. White skin don't make nobody evil. That's just a flesh and blood. Came out of our flesh and blood. Do you understand? Flesh and blood is like I'll tell you, it's like a building. A building is neither good nor bad. The goodness or the bad of it is based on what you're putting inside of it. Do you understand? So, I'm giving all of you a chance. That's all Allah told me to do. Give them warning from me, man. Let the wicked now forsake his way. You know, making evil fast seeming to them on earth and causing them all to deviate. That was a right way with me. Well, let the wicked now forsake his way. And the unrighteous man. You know, that's everybody who's been taught by this world and its teachers. You can't say that you have been taught righteousness. The scriptures is for instruction in righteousness. And in America, you cannot put the Bible or the Holy Quran in the public school system. So no matter what you was taught, you was not taught righteousness in a school system. You have been taught the mammon of unrighteousness. So let the unrighteous man forsake his thoughts. Do you understand? Because where he thought he was being taught good, the devil have made evil seem good to him. Do you understand? And so now it's time that you know the truth. I'm telling you this in front of those who've been teaching you so that you can know, come to me later. You can't come back claiming that you thought that they was teaching you right. White people couldn't teach you what they didn't know. Do you understand? Any Caucasian that say he knows righteousness, meaning understands righteousness, if he come in here, I will question him in front of you and prove to you with the instruction of righteousness that he don't understand. since you don't seem to be able to look at his world and tell that he don't understand it. I mean, I don't even know why you would even try to argue that. You're living in a world and ain't nothing around you but evil. If you understand righteousness, then why is your world so full of evil? You don't know nothing about the teachings of righteousness. You doing everything that righteousness dictate against. And I publicly confronting you. And all you can do, many of you get angry with me. For what? What you angry with me for? It's not even me you're angry with. You're angry with God. Because the only thing I did was spoken with his words to you. So when you curse at me, you curse it at him. That's what the book says. Even that is what's said. I mean, it's rich. It says that the Father judges no man, but have committed all judgment unto the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honoreth not the Son, honoreth not the Father which hath sent him. Son of man, I do send thee unto them. That's what he said. Hey, what? What have I said or done that the scriptures disagree with? I mean, you want to direct me. Okay, all I want to direct me on what I should do, right? How you want to be the director of a movie and the leading man is following the script and you coming in there and talking about, well, why'd you say that? Well, it's in the script. How you going to direct and you don't understand the script? If you was in Hollywood, they'd fire you. Huh? Why? Because you can't direct what you don't have no knowledge of. You haven't even stopped and thought that here you got all these people that claim behind my back that I'm teaching you wrong. And yet I've offered them $20,000 and my life if they can come in here and with scripture prove their allegation. When I ask them, do you understand the scripture? They give me all kind of answers except the one that's the simplest. Yes or no, huh? You've even heard some people say, well, don't nobody really understand it. Even that shows how foolish they are. Because if you ask them, does that include God? You mean God don't understand his word? Well, you being God. Then they see that they don't even have that right. So let me show you who the we is. In the book of Matthew, the 25th chapter and 31st verse, it says, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. Now you understand who that we is. It says in the 12th verse of the 6th chapter of Ephesians, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Yes. The minds that's in people is what we wrestling with. Do you understand? The mind is the ruler. I will place a ruler in here, and that's what. Let's see what the book says about ruler. In the 2nd chapter of the Holy Quran, in the 30th verse, second chapter, 30th, it says, when thy Lord said to the angels, I am going to place a ruler in the earth. They said, wilt thou place in it? Where's your mind located at? It's inside of you, ain't it? Yes. Wilt thou place in it such as make mischief in it and shed blood? Now, when the Pilgrims came to America, and they found Native Americans here, and they were strangers. What did the Native American do when he saw them? They bore witness that he welcomed them, right? And taught them what he knew about little farming or whatever it is he knew. He shared that knowledge with them, didn't he? And you just got through celebrating Thanksgiving that they said they did with the Native Americans. And according to the history that I learned, that they gave them blankets with smallpox in them as a present. Gave the Native American when they started getting sick. Their village doctor, herbalist, they say witch doctor. You know, give him a name that sound crazy. He didn't know how to heal them. And then they gave him some medicine that after so many died, they gave him some medicine that from them that healed them. And they said his medicine was stronger than their witch doctor, right? And that made them start trusting them more, right? So they was tricking him. As he said, oh, what a tangle web we weaved when we first practiced to deceive. Yes. Nobody could figure him out. And by the time they did figure out that he spoke with two tongues, it was too late. Right? Okay. He made mischief and he shedded blood. Wilt thou place in it such as make mischief in it? And even in the I don't know if the Jews started the mafia or the Italians, because I heard one of them confessing that to protect his people in the South from being attacked by some of the Southern white people, they formed what they called the Cosa Nostra. Huh? Yeah, remember that interview with, what's his name? think it was Byron Della Beckwith's son. And they had one Jewish person on there that, said they formed the Cosa Nostra. But anyway, I just listen when people talking. But, you don't learn anything by always running off at the mouth. But anyway, as we share these things with you, we always leave the door open for disagreement, so that people, if they think we've given you false information, we keep a little record around so we can show them, just like I show you on these movies there, that you already bore me witness. Huh? So I'm bringing you your own witness back. By your own words, you'll be justified. And by your own words, you'll be condemned. I mean, even with our sister here in faith, Sister Ruley, Miss Christina Ruley, she acknowledged that she don't understand. She said white people have never felt the lashes of discrimination, though many of us want to understand. That's why when she saw the lack of emotional outbursts from Trayvon Martin's mother, she assumed it was something that it was not. Dignity had nothing to do with it. Our dignity had already and has already been stripped from us. That's why when white people do us ill, we have to sit back and have left ourselves in a position where we have to sit back and hope that white people will do justice to those who did injustice to us that look like them. When one of us do something to them, they deal with it. When we offend them, right? When they offend us, we're not in a position to deal with it. So you don't refer to us who are in a position where all we can do is try to survive as showing great dignity. No, our dignity has been stripped away from us. And we are now making the attempt to restore that. That's why I'm standing up here talking to you like I'm talking to you. So, yes, I appreciate the fact that even in the face of undignified treatment of us, we attempt, and we don't lose the need to restore our dignity. But make no mistake, we've just learned how to deal in a society that death is around every corner. Death can come upon us at any time at the hands of those who have in the past shown that murdering us means nothing to them. We've just learned how to survive in the midst of people who hate us. Well, we through just surviving. And I'm warning you, change or else. We're not going after all of this evil that we see you doing. We're going after the cause of it. And when you ain't got no mind no more, you won't be able to keep on doing this stuff to us or anyone. They not telling you the truth about the timer's disease, Alzheimer's, as they call it, or Alzheimer's, because they try to make you think that only old people get it. No, you're not going to be able to fight me pretty soon in the deliverance of my people out of your hands, because you're not going to have no mind to do it with. You can believe it or not. So we are not wrestling with flesh and blood. I ain't mad at his flesh. I'm not trying to condemn his flesh. It's the mind that's in that flesh that's got to go. Change while you have the time. I'm giving you the tools to do so. I'm giving you reason to do so. Minds don't change if you don't give it a reason. The mere fact that you can't come in here with a legitimate argument to shut me down in what I'm saying should tell you that greater is he that's in me than the mind that's in you. I serve not that which you serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve, nor shall I serve that which you serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve. For you is your recompense, and for me is mine. You're going to get the reward of what you do, and I'm going to get the reward of what I do. Do you really want the reward for what you have been doing? You better change. It says, we wrestle not the Son of Man and all the holy angels. We not wrestling with flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in positions of authority in high places. Yes. Wherefore, take unto you. What did Jesus say when he told the disciples? Take, eat. This is my body, which was broken for you. That's right. Take these pieces from the Bible and the Holy Quran, which is the body of Christ, which as I am sharing it with you. Take this and eat it. Take, as it says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God. If all the holy angels are with me, as Paul said, for me to be absent from the body, I'll be present with the Lord. And the Son of Man shall come and all the holy angels present with him. Take the whole armor that I'm offering you, the whole Word of God, the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran. Take them from me. I'm offering it to you to share it with you, that you may be able to withstand in the day, in the evil day. Yes. And having done all, remember, as the book says, be not hearers of the word only, but what? Doers, not of some of it, but the response of those who truly believe when the messages of Allah recited is that they say, we hear and we do, we obey. And having obeyed all, having done all, and you'll be able to stand. It says, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation, with the Holy Scriptures. You notice, preparation, that is just another way of saying that it was prepared. It was made ready with the preparation of the gospel of peace. That's what the Holy Scriptures are. They were prepared before any of us were born. And having your feet shod with the preparation, with the Scriptures of the gospel of peace, of the good news of the Word of God. For he is the author of peace and not of confusion. And it says, above all, taking the shield of faith. That's what you notice. When you think something will protect you, you stay behind it. And when you have faith in Allah and those whom he sends, you stay behind them. Those who have faith, you stay behind me. You understand? And it says, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. You'll notice when people, what if I had got all rattled because me out and calling me all them MFs and stuff because they was looking for some excuse to vent all of that venom and thought they had found it when I spanked my baby? What if I had lost faith in God's word? I would have been looking for something outside of his word to deal with them. But instead, he said, now you got them just where you need them. Now they have manifested to you how much they hate me. Now call them on it. And he said, whose words, this is what he said to me. Whose words were you following? Whose instructions were you following? And I said, well, I was following your instructions. You said, withhold not correction from them. You said, beat them with the rod. Well, then when they called you an MF, who was they really calling MF? I said, well, I guess they was calling you one. Ain't no guesswork to it. They were calling me one. So call them on that. And matter of fact, you know how they talk about Hitler so much? He said, bring Hitler into it. And not only did they say that those who followed his instructions was guilty of war crimes, if they was guilty who was following the instructions, what about the one who gave the instruction? Was he guilty? And they will say yes. Well, then that proves that if you followed my instructions and they called you an MF, then what they really doing is calling me their God. And I will deal with it from there. And he been dealing with it too. You see? But he don't choose a man who lose his faith just because the winds start blowing. You remember when the winds got boisterous and the people was in the ship talking about we gonna perish? And Jesus was down there in the hole asleep. Is that right? And they went down and talking about, do you care that we about to perish? And Jesus said, peace, be still. And everything calmed down. You see how it calmed down when I spoke the word of God to them? They can be mad at me all they want. But I already know who they're really mad at. It's not me they're angry with. Because I didn't speak with my words. I spoke with his words that they claim is their God. And I got to be all of them MFs. Huh? Yeah. You're not fooling nobody. I know you hate me. 400 years with you, and you think I don't know how you feel about me after seeing how you done treated my people for all this time? And you want to keep on doing it. You want to. And that's why you're going to be in trouble. Because you desire to continue. Even now that the truth has been made clear to you. So you're going to see a whole lots of folks, more than you've been seeing, losing their ability to remember. Yeah, that's right. That's the worst part of life. That after knowledge, to know nothing. Yeah. So don't say I didn't try to warn you. It says, and take the helmet of salvation. What is salvation? The helmet of salvation is the understanding of salvation. The helmet is that which sits above everything. So everything else is under it. Understanding. Take the helmet of salvation. What is salvation? It's being brought out of the darkness and misunderstanding of falsehood into the light of truth. Now we're about 5 minutes away from it being time to go off. But if it pleases Allah, we will be back a half hour from now, and we will be sharing more with you on these things here. And again, I want to thank Miss Christina Ruley for being to come in and have conversation with us, and for at least being honest to say that it did not happen to her. Do you understand? You know, even though she had her suspicions, she did call them just that. And I respect that. So It's a lot of things that I don't say, but I do know when people go out and, some of them stars and whatnot, people be trying to get with them stars and women be throwing their underclothes at them men. Now, this kind of stuff I done seen, and you done seen it too. So don't tell me that you don't know that kind of stuff happens. And then just like with that woman that set up President Clinton and tried to say that somehow he took misadvantage of her, when she the one kept the dress and everything and took all that stuff to the press. Huh? What, mad because he wouldn't leave his wife? You'd be surprised how people think, man. Got mad at him and decided she go. But why'd she keep the dress in the first place? That was the same reason that somebody hired that lady that I read to you that said they tried to pay her $15,000 to set up Dr. Cosby. You understand? But when the media start bringing a bunch of stuff out, people that, you'd be surprised if that happened to any of you, men or women. And somebody said, well, this happened. Then you'll start thinking about when you dated the person or whatnot, right? Well, maybe they done it to me too, right? So I know how that go, So I don't take that stuff and run with it. So, I look forward to talking with you again in about a half hour, if it pleases Allah. But, like I said, you notice Miss Ruley misread Trayvon Martin's mother. But I can tell you flat out, and no, inside, she is very angry. All right. And I'll meet y'all back in the conference room a half hour from now, if it pleases Allah. May Allah's salam alaikum.
Your conference recording has stopped.